When John O'Connor, the owner of the aircraft, first contacted me about this restoration, I was thrilled. I grew up watching Black Sheep Squadron on TV and couldn't believe I had the opportunity to work on one of the actual aircraft. John, some of the historians at Air Corps Aviation and the team at Flying Colors spent hundreds of hours researching the history of this aircraft. Ultimately, John came to the conclusion that he wanted to honor someone special with this restoration.
The airframe sitting here today is a F4U-7 Corsair, bureau number 133710. It was built in 1952 by Chance Vaught at their factory in Dallas, Texas. 94 of this specific model were built for the French Navy. After the end of service in France, this Corsair was purchased by the Marine Corps Air Ground Museum and returned to Quantico via barge in 1964. The U.S. Marine Corps Air Ground Museum acquired the aircraft, repainted it into a World War II paint scheme, and displayed it at the museum, but never operated it. Once they acquired an actual World War II veteran aircraft, they sold this Dash 7 to a pilot who returned her to flying status and displayed her at many air shows throughout the world. In 1973, this Corsair was bought by a World War II pilot that flew it throughout the filming of Baba Black Sheep. This was one of two F4U-7s in the show. After filming the show, the airplane continued on the air show scene and was exchanged through several owners before arriving in John O'Connor's hands. Many months were spent getting the mechanical systems of the aircraft fully functional before it arrived at Flying Colors Aviation. One of the big questions was who to honor. John wanted to honor one of our many war heroes, but who? We ended our search when we ran across the story of Lieutenant Colonel John F. Jack Bolt. Jack Bolt was a member of VMF 214 during World War II, better known as the Black Sheep Squadron, led by Major Pappy Boynton. They became arguably the most famous squadron in World War II with 8 aces. Jack Bolt was one of them. He also scored 6 kills during the Korean War against MiGs. He was awarded 3 Distinguished Flying Crosses and the Navy Cross. The Distinguished Flying Cross is the highest award distinctly for the aviation community, and the Navy Cross is only one level below the Medal of Honor. He was a true war hero in World War II and in Korea, and a fighter pilot's fighter pilot. He is the only Marine Corps aviator who is an ace both in World War II and in Korea. After his time as a fighter pilot, Jack worked as an aircraft design engineer and tactics and weapons instructor, as well as teaching air combat doctrine. He was the best, training the best. Through our research, we obtained Jack's actual logbooks and discovered that Jack flew the AU-1 variant, bureau number 129378, quite regularly near the end of his Marine Corps career. We chose to paint this Corsair in the AU-1 scheme displaying that bureau number because it was the last Corsair that Jack ever flew. Between 1940 and 1953, there were 12,571 Corsairs manufactured in 16 distinct models. Only 111 of these were AU-1s. The last U.S. Marine Corps AU-1 Corsair was based at Quantico and was retired in mid-1957. Sadly, there are no known surviving AU-1s in museums or in the hands of private owners. In addition to honoring Jack Bolt, we are honoring the service of the lost AU-1 aircraft. Over 5,000 hours went into restoring this Corsair. During the process, we discovered that many of the parts in this aircraft are indeed authentic AU-1 pieces. Many data plates display AU-1 in the model designation. The F4U-4B, AU-1, and F4U-7 are essentially the same airframe with modifications to their specific mission. Most of the parts were interchangeable, but it was still a surprise to the team that there were so many AU-1 parts on this airframe. How fitting that it lives on in AU-1 colors today.
A collective effort went into the restoration of this aircraft. A special thanks goes out to John Lane at Air Power Unlimited, Ezel Aviation, Air Corps Aviation, and especially Sam Tabor and the team at Tab Air. We at Flying Colors were honored to be included among the best in the industry working on this Corsair. Look for her in air shows starting in 2018.